There is one item miss from you now. That
The
bell.
bell.
That bell.
But I got you.
Yeah.
Don't worry. I got you.
Welterweight champion would bring Canelo, shutting down the speculation, saying,
it before, but that things have changed. What challenges does Terence Crawford present to you, and how do you beat him?
Oh, I'm focused 100% on me. So,
even when pushed on whether fighting Crawford would add to his legacy, Canelo didn't waver. He acknowledged Crawford's achievements, but refused to entertain the idea any further.
Think it'll add to your legacy, the fight with
yeah,
Crawford?
like, he's a really good fighter. 2 times undisputed champion. He accomplished so much. So, can add a lot to my...
This isn't the first time Canelo has dodged questions about Crawford, but does his response completely rule out the fight? What do you think? For months, Canelo Alvarez has downplayed the possibility of facing Terence Crawford, repeatedly saying he's focused on his own career. But now, it looks like the fight is officially happening. After weeks of speculation, Turki Al-Sheikh, the man behind the biggest fights in Saudi Arabia, has confirmed that Canelo versus Crawford is set for September.
In Riyadh, in May, the big fight in the history of boxing. In September, then 2 more fights in 26. Don't miss with the line.
This is huge. Canelo, the undisputed champion at 168, will take on Crawford, who dominated the welterweight division and is now making history by jumping up 3 weight classes to challenge the Mexican superstar. For Canelo, this fight is about proving he's still the king of boxing, silencing any doubts about his willingness to take on all challengers. For Crawford, it's a shot at cementing his legacy with one of the boldest moves in boxing history. Canelo Alvarez spent months dismissing talk of a fight with Terence Crawford, but now, not only is the fight confirmed, Canelo has made a bold promise to Turki Al-Sheikh he's coming for undisputed status once again. With their September showdown locked in, Canelo assured Turki in just 4 words.
Hey.
There is one item miss from you now. That bell.
The bell.
That bell.
But I got you.
Yeah.
Don't worry. I got you.
This is a huge statement. Canelo has already conquered the 168-pound division as the undisputed champion, but with Crawford moving up 3 weight classes for this historic showdown, the stakes are even higher. For Canelo, this fight isn't just about defending his title, it's about cementing his legacy as the face of boxing. And with full support from Saudi Arabia, he's making it clear he's leaving no doubts. The boxing world was recently rocked by major news about the sport's future. Dana White, UFC's president and CEO, has officially entered boxing promotion in partnership with Turki Al-Sheikh. This collaboration brings together Saudi Arabia's Public Investment Fund subsidiary and TKO, the parent company of UFC and WWE, under a multi-year agreement. Following this massive announcement, Dana White spoke to Dan Rafael about the deal and his vision for boxing's future. Before playing the interview, Rafael shared what he knew about TKO's potential involvement in promoting Canelo versus Crawford. The boxing insider broke down the situation, revealing that Canelo no longer has an official promoter and explaining who's likely to handle his mega fight against Terence Crawford in September.
From Saudi Arabia has shown a lot of interest in, and of course if it's going to get made, someone's going to have to put up a lot of guaranteed money, and he's probably the person that's going to do it. He's obviously been working closely with Terence Crawford. He was involved with the Terence Crawford's last fight that took place in August when he fought Israel Madrimov. It's obviously a fight that Terence Crawford has been very...
And Rafael explained that Turki Al-Sheikh has a 4-fight deal with Canelo Alvarez. Unlike when he was signed with Matchroom, Golden Boy, or when he worked with PBC and TGB, Canelo now operates without a traditional promoter. Instead, his fights are being directly managed through Saudi Arabia's powerhouse backing. So, who will officially promote Canelo versus Crawford? Rafael believes the answer is obvious. He noted, Dana is now running events for this new company backed by Turkey and the Saudis. Based on what I've been hearing over the past few days, it seems likely that TKO's boxing division will ultimately handle the promotion of Canelo versus Crawford in September. If true, This marks a seismic shift in boxing's promotional landscape. Instead of Matchroom, Top Rank, or PBC controlling the fight, a Saudi-backed, TKO-affiliated company could take over.
The fight kind of downplayed it to a certain degree, but it wasn't that long ago. I don't know, maybe a couple of months ago, he was doing an appearance, and he was asked about it, and he didn't close the door on it. In the past, he sort of like closed the door on it and was like, I'm not interested. He's like, listen, I'll talk to anybody and listen to what they have to say about the deal, any kind of deal. So in my mind, that sort of at least cracked open the door to have the conversation. Like, he wasn't just saying forget it in terms of working with Turkey or anybody else. So I think that Canelo is a smart person in terms of his boxing, but also
For months, Canelo Alvarez brushed off the idea of fighting Terence Crawford. He never called for it, never pursued it, and even dismissed questions about it. But now it's happening. Why? Because Turki Alışık has made it impossible to say no. Boxing insider Dan Rafael broke it down. This isn't about legacy or rivalry, it's about money. And that's exactly why Alışık has played a major role in Crawford's career, funding his last fight in August. Now he's the one making this fight a reality, putting up an amount of money that even Canelo can't ignore. Crawford has always wanted this fight. He's been vocal, calling for it again and again. But Canelo? He never did. In fact, Rafael pointed out that Canelo made it clear he wasn't interested.
Size, power and size. Now, skill-wise, I think Crawford's a better skilled fighter. But the difference in size will be the deciding factor. And that's why I'm not even a fan of that fight. I think Crawford has accomplished everything he had to accomplish. Okay, from 140, 147, now 154, that's even great for him. He wants to do something, collect belts at 154, he can attempt that. But there's no money in that compared to the Canelo fight. And Canelo is trying to fight other guys, and at that point, it's more of a big fight for the money.
But here's where things get interesting. Canelo never outright denied it either. A few months ago, when asked about Crawford, he left the door open just enough. Now, with Saudi Arabia making it official, the real question is, did Canelo take this fight because he truly wanted it, or was the money just too good to refuse?
I'm a fan of that matchmaking. I'd rather see Canelo move up and fight somebody like Bitterbeef or Bivol again. Yeah. If he wanted to challenge himself, move up to 175 again, and challenge himself against those guys. Not a smaller guy.
As Canelo versus Crawford inches closer to reality, boxing experts are already weighing in, and former world champion Mikey Garcia is not impressed. In fact, he believes this fight is completely one-sided and already sees a clear winner. For Garcia, this isn't about skill, it's about size, power, and basic physics.
I told my boy Jazz, I already caught the biggest fish in Texas. About to get out here and get it in. I see the water. I know who the #1 fisherman is. Even big fish.
Garcia acknowledges that Crawford is the more skilled fighter, but in his eyes, the size difference is just too much for Bud to overcome, and that's exactly why he's not a fan of this matchup.
I think 54 is going to be enough for him. Him going up to fighting, quote unquote, if it should happen, Canelo, I don't see that ending well. It's just too much and too far to go. But that's
he'd rather see Canelo challenge himself at 175, taking on names like Bivol or Bitterbeef again, rather than fighting a much smaller Crawford moving up. But with the kind of money behind this fight, it's clear why it's happening. As the Canelo versus Crawford showdown gains momentum, former world champion Andre Ward has made his stance clear. He's backing Crawford all the way. Many believe the size and power difference will be too much for Bud to handle, but Ward sees something else, an unshakable will. Andre Ward stated, "I'm rolling with Terence Bud Crawford. It's a big weight jump, and it's a dangerous fight, but someone has to prove to me that they can break Crawford's will, that he can't figure it out. And so far, nobody has. No disrespect to Canelo, but I've said this before, I'm not betting against Terence Crawford right now. You have to show me that you can beat him.
He's made it clear. Do fights like that help your legacy, or do you feel like that's something that's not worth it to you?
Everything in my career, every fight make my legacy different and better, no? Terence Crawford is a great fighter, he's a good fighter, but like I say, he's a weight classes.
Ward made it clear this isn't about disrespecting Canelo. It's about believing in Crawford's ability to adjust and overcome any challenge. His confidence in Bud remains unshaken, no matter the weight class or the opponent in front of him. Terence Crawford isn't backing down, with talks of a September showdown heating up. Bud just sent a cryptic but supremely confident message.
Charlo, besides the knockdown, Charlo was able to protect himself very well against Canelo's onslaught. The only problem was, while protecting himself,
Crawford has already proven his dominance by dismantling Errol Spence, the man who once called himself the Big Fish. Now he's making it clear, Canelo might just be his next prize catch. As the fight inches closer to reality, Crawford isn't just talking, he's letting Canelo know exactly what's coming. Trainer Andre Rozier sees Crawford's move to 154 as a smart and logical step. But when it comes to jumping up to fight Canelo, he's not convinced. He sees it as a dangerous leap, questioning whether Crawford can handle the sheer size and power difference.
What I saw, I believe Crawford saw the same thing. If Charlo can go so untouched by just being, once he got dropped, he, spider senses, boom, fully awakened, right? Boom. So now hands up, don't make no mistakes. So, that's how it is. We saw it in the Munguia fight, we saw it in the last fight. It's those little mistakes that end up having big.
Rozier's concerns highlight just how massive this challenge really is. Crawford wouldn't just be stepping up in weight. He'd be taking on one of boxing's biggest pound-for-pound stars while dealing with a serious physical disadvantage. With all the hype surrounding a potential Canelo versus Crawford showdown, Canelo has finally responded to the idea of fighting the undisputed welterweight champion. And he didn't sugarcoat his thoughts. Thurman observed how Charlo, after suffering a knockdown, adjusted his defense to minimize damage but failed to counter effectively, allowing Canelo to control the fight. Thurman suggested that Crawford, famous for his adaptability and offensive creativity, likely sees an opening he can exploit. Unlike Charlo, who seemed to focus more on survival, Crawford may aim to blend defense with calculated aggression, looking for opportunities to score, while staying out of Canelo's devastating power range. However, Thurman also acknowledged the danger. One mistake against Canelo could end the fight in an instant, and that's where skepticism comes in. Some believe Crawford's size and recent performances don't exactly indicate he can handle a true super middleweight. His last fight, a decision win over Israel Madrimov at 154, didn't leave a dominant impression. Even Ryan Garcia didn't hold back, calling the victory a robbery.
Trash. Don't ever compare Crawford to Canelo again. Shout out young Triple G. He did his. I felt he won. At least a draw. The judges, you weirdos, you guys suck ass. And Crawford, you're not pound for pound. You never fought nobody good. You fought Spence that had a car accident.
Sean Porter, a former welterweight champion who has gone toe-to-toe with Crawford, isn't convinced that moving up to fight Canelo is the right move. Having experienced Crawford's skill and power firsthand, Porter acknowledges his elite abilities, but he also sees a dangerous mismatch in size and strength. Porter's concern isn't about Crawford's skills or adaptability, it's about the sheer physical gap. Canelo has shown destructive power at higher weight classes, while Crawford has yet to prove he can handle elite competition beyond lower weights. The debate is heating up. Is Crawford's skill enough to overcome the size and power disadvantage, or is he taking a gamble that could end in disaster? Meanwhile, Nico Ali Walsh, grandson of Muhammad Ali, has weighed in on Crawford's move up in weight to challenge Canelo. While many analysts have doubts, Walsh sees it differently. He believes that if any fighter can pull off such a monumental challenge, it's Crawford.
Like once he gets touched by Canelo, it's going to be different.
I am concerned about him absorbing a Canelo punch, especially through the course of 12 rounds. We do know this about Canelo. He's going to slow down. You know, so I think if anything, Canelo would try to start fast and bang on him and break him down before he gets later, and he still got that kind of steam. But, you know, there's so many components that make a champion. There's so many components that make a great, a legend. It's just so much to go into. It's a conversation that lasts an hour easily when we talk about all of the components that Terence Crawford has, all of the components that Canelo have, and how we find how they even out and who trumps one another, you know what I mean? We tried to do that with Errol Spence and Terence Crawford, and we see how that panned.
Unlike skeptics who focus on the physical disadvantages, Walsh sees this as a battle between two generational talents. His take adds another layer to the debate. Is Crawford truly a once-in-a-lifetime fighter capable of defying weight classes, or will Canelo's power be too much? Boxing analyst Frank STA, 3, just made one of the boldest and most controversial predictions yet. He doesn't even think Canelo will make it to his rumored September fight with Crawford. Why? Because he believes Jake Paul will shock the world and may defeat Canelo and throw himself into the Crawford sweepstakes. Instead, this take isn't just bold, it's outright shocking. The idea of Jake Paul beating Canelo is already a stretch for most fans, but the thought of a Crawford versus Paul megafight headlining in Las Vegas? That's next level. Is this just wild speculation, or does STA see something others don't? One thing is certain, this prediction has just blown up the boxing conversation. Super welterweight champion Israel Madrimov has also shared his thoughts on the highly debated showdown between Canelo and Crawford, offering a take that keeps things right down the middle. Madrimov believes Crawford's ring IQ and skill set could earn him a decision victory, but when it comes to raw power at 168, he gives the edge to Canelo. This prediction adds even more fuel to the fire. Can Crawford's technical brilliance overcome the sheer size and strength of Canelo, or will the power difference be too much to handle? Meanwhile, Gervonta, Tank, Davis isn't holding back his skepticism about Crawford's physical transformation. While many see Crawford's move up in weight as a bold challenge, Davis suggests there's more to the story, questioning how Crawford has been able to pack on muscle while seemingly avoiding damage in the ring.
Get to September. I think Jake Paul, if they fight in May, he's going to beat Canelo. He's going to jump into the Terence Crawford sweepstakes. And you're going to have a whole separate big fight. And, you know, with Canelo being out of the picture, I think that is a great generational fight. I think Crawford versus Jake Paul will be huge and tremendous, sell out elite.
You know, if 168 pounds, I think it's Canelo, but it's Canelo better technique because 50-50. If 12 rounds, Crawford win, I think. If knockout, it's Canelo. He has power, smart, in more practical.
We're talking about what's up with him. He has more experience. Crawford needs the money. Yeah, he will. You think he had a chance to win?
And another thing, bro, I don't be wanting to. How these guys is. Then you get hurt against
Madrimov.
Who?
There you talk about Crawford got took by Madrimov. Is that what you
No, he got clipped by Gamboa, right?
Yeah,
right?
Or Kavalasky?
He's looking this strong over the past year. I mean, these years. He ain't been getting clipped or nothing. So now, that's that snack shit. I'm telling you. Y'all laugh.
No, do tell.
I'm telling you.
Yeah, it's the best.
And that guy that a part of it, he been caught before. He went to jail for it.